All right, welcome everyone to the MP529 Psychopathology course. I'm AJ Latimer, and as always, I'm joined by Kendra Martin. Today we're kicking things off with the backbone of modern mental health diagnoses, the DSM-5 TR. Now I gotta admit, coming out of marketing and straight into clinical psychology lingo, the whole DSM thing felt like stepping into a new universe for me.
Yeah, totally get that. The DSM, so for folks who might not know, that's the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, is a bit like the dictionary for clinicians. It gets updated with new additions as our understanding of mental health changes. And right now we're on the DSM-5 TR, which is the treatment revision of the 5th edition.
See, what threw me at first was how structured it is, right? Like it's not just a checklist. There's this history behind it, and each disorder has these specific diagnostic criteria. I was actually surprised to see how much it's shaped the entire mental health field, from research to insurance billing, stuff I never thought about. It's so official, but it's also, well, it's super detailed and a little intimidating.
Yeah, and its structure is all about categories. So neurodevelopmental, psychotic, mood, anxiety, all those grouped together. The whole idea is to give everyone a common language so that whether you're in Chicago or, Tokyo, you're diagnosing the same thing based on the same set of criteria.
And honestly, something I picked up early on is that the DSM isn't some kind of ancient monolith, right? The definitions of mental illness actually change as the culture and science evolve. I mean, there used to be diagnoses in there that aren't around anymore, or they got redefined when evidence suggested otherwise. It's sort of wild how what counts as a disorder is really a moving target sometimes.
Exactly. And that ends up shaping evidence-based practices too. When the DSM changes, so does the way clinicians research, diagnose, and treat people. It impacts everything from what medications are used to which therapies are considered best practice. Sometimes that adjustment can be slow, but ultimately, it's about keeping things rooted in the best evidence we have at the time, always evolving.
It's really interesting from my perspective because, marketing's all about understanding audiences. It's like the DSM is trying to systematize something that is always growing and shifting, especially with the influence of culture, new treatments, and better research. I guess I'm just now seeing how much the language we use and the categories we build shape real people's experiences and outcomes.
Absolutely. And it's a good lead-in to our next topic, actually, the social impact of these diagnoses, especially the stigma attached. After all, having a name for something can help, but it can also hurt if we're not careful. Stigma's a big theme in the course and in mental health care in general. There's this classic piece by Corrigan from 2007, it's required reading for us this week, that digs into how just receiving a diagnosis can sometimes make stigma worse. You get this label, and suddenly the way people look at you, treat you, or even talk to you can totally shift.
Right, and I get why people get nervous about it. It reminds me, Kendra, didn't you mention working with a teen client who was hesitant to even go to therapy because of this exact kind of fear?
Yeah, that's right. There was this one teen at the department, smart kid, but he wouldn't talk during sessions. His family was so frustrated, but when we finally got to what was going on, he basically said he'd rather avoid treatment altogether than have people at school or in the community find out he had a diagnosis. And this wasn't just about classmates, it was teachers too, adults who should know better. There's this belief that a diagnosis is a life sentence, like it erases everything else you are.
And all of this gets even trickier when we're talking about kids or teens. The way stigma sticks, the power adults have to label, the lack of, say, kids get in the process. It really makes you step back and think about what we're actually doing when we diagnose someone, especially early in life.
Yep, and that's something we'll definitely dig into more as the course goes on. We are getting a window into how diagnosis and stigma wrap around each other, and just how important it is for clinicians and families to stay aware of the power those words have.
Absolutely. Big thanks for hanging out with me today, Kendra. We've got a lot more ground to cover in this course on psychopathology.